FPL Game Week 30. Hello and welcome to the Armband. I'm your host Chris, and Kieran is here with me too. How you doing today?
Yeah, not bad. How are you?
Good. Yeah, all right. Really. Got Champions League on tonight. We had FA Cup at the weekend, and FPL back this weekend too. So yeah, busy. Lots of football to keep us occupied. I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, we got a bit of a packed one tonight because FA Cup wrapped, or the fifth round wrapped up last night. With West Ham beating Brentford, so we've got the draw for the quarterfinal, which means we've got a rough idea of like all the blanks and doubles. So we're going to talk about that, as well as picks for this game week with a bit of a lead into the blank game week 31. So yeah, plenty to cover. It's an exciting time. I can't believe how we're at game week 30 as well. 8 game weeks to go.
Yeah, my rank can't believe it either.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. All right. More on that now. Then should we do the review? Game week 29, which was a painful one, wasn't it? It kind of sucked for me.
Yeah, is my team up or yours?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Mine. Okay. 46. Last week was a decent week. With some moves I made, and obviously this week's back to just being atrocious. The clangers have come out again. 8 million gaming rank. Wilson and Anderson not showing up. Anderson was just illness, so kind of figured he'd play, but that just didn't happen in the end. Wilson, like, we don't really have word on what's happening with him, so probably going to be a transfer out, even though he's got Burnley. Yeah. I don't know. We need to hear more, like Burnley in Game Week 31. So yeah, but the only thing that kind of worked was Bruno captain instead of Haaland.
Yeah, that was nice.
Stats coming on with some DEFCON. Cool. And then Gabriel return, and then everybody else blanking. Just classic my team. Like, I have good players, and I'm just sick of this. Like, it's just so annoying. And I just don't really know what to do at this point. So
Rodgers is like a full cock, isn't he, at the moment?
I hate him.
Like, we got him because of this big run of like nice looking fixtures. He's blanked in like all of them. He plays in 31. If I had more transfers, I think I would sell him because it's just desperate. He was definitely overperforming, but there was enough there to think there was like a decent base of returns. And
Villa were playing well as well, and they were on a big run, and he was part of it, and they had good fixtures to continue it, and they've just back to the start of the season, Villa.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty atrocious owning him. Similar story for me really, with hardly like any returns. I got 54. I think my only sort of differential return was Ballard coming in for Anderson. That was quite lucky. Obviously, kept Rice, and he's blanked again. Lefay got more points. Haaland captaincy didn't work out, and he's just been like, we talked about it on when we did our stream. Like, he hasn't actually been that good for quite a while now. Like, and definitely not a reliable captaincy. And again, Semenyo outscored him. I think if I'd had a little more balls last week, probably really could have thought about that more, because Bruno's just on a bit of a run. And
is this just what Haaland does now? Like, early fire start of the season, and then like goes on a rut of just not like great, and then and then maybe he'll start to turn it on at the end of the season, which kind of has happened in the last few years. So
yeah, we'll see. Definitely, it's going to be interesting because City could have 2 double game weeks before the end of the season, but it's not like his ownership's going to go down. If anything, there's going to be more people triple captaining him. So yeah, he needs to turn it around a bit. But yeah, red arrow for me, down to 120k, so basically dropped what I'd gained last week. But it's not all doom and gloom. All right, let's talk. I'll bring up just a few notes, and we'll just talk about what we're thinking, or what's happened really on the blanks and doubles really, and like what we know. So I've just got like a short summary here, which I can run through, which I think I've understood right. So likely double game weeks and blanks. So this is like the most likely scenario now based on like fixture odds, etc. Who's expected to beat who. So 31, I'll just recap anyway. So we know that 4 teams are going to blank in game week 31. That's Arsenal, Wolves, City and Palace. That's pretty much set in stone, unless City and Palace both fluff it in Europe, I believe.
I say it's like on the FPL site that they don't have a game week, but then I guess it could still be rearranged, right?
It could still be, yeah. So then in 33, as expected, that was going to be the biggest double and it still is expected to be. So 6 teams are very likely going to double in that game week. So it's Arsenal, Brighton, Burnley, Chelsea, City, and Newcastle, which I think is a really nice mix of big hitter teams with expensive assets and cheap-ish bench fodder, which works quite nicely for like a potential bench boost that week. Then game week 34, it looks like it's going to be the biggest blank. The 6 teams who I mentioned just then, Arsenal, Brighton, Burnley, Chelsea, City, and Newcastle, very likely are going to blank, which means looks like could be good for free hit. And then game week 36 is the other free midweek, which it looks like, predictions make it seem like if City and Palace are still in Europe, their game would get rearranged there because that's usually a free week. So, yeah, like I say, the headline news kind of is that City and Palace go a little bit further in Europe, and City beat Liverpool in the FA Cup, which they've drawn at home. They're likely to have 2 doubles still, which is obviously good for people with, especially with triple captaincy if it goes into game week 36, because that's going to be a small one.
Yeah, and why we smacked it on Gabriel makes feels bad, man.
It does feel bad, yeah. So I think still, from like personally looking at the fixture layout, I really don't see why I would deviate from what the original plan was, which was roughly wildcard in game week 32.
Yeah.
Which you do after you sell most of your Arsenal players for the blank, bench boost in 33, free hit 34, and then work towards maxing 6 doublers for 36. If that's the case, which you might not need to do anyway, because you probably likely have 3 City on your wildcard in game week 32 anyway. So it would just be how many Palace players you might want for that. So yeah, it's a shame in a way that it looks like it's going to go as it was predicted, but yeah, that's why predictions are in place.
Yeah, that might be why. Another reason that I'm struggling to get anywhere as well. Like all the teams are pretty much the same, and I'm just like the players I don't have are always returning, and then what's coming up with all these trips coming up, like most of the people ahead of me are going to be doing the same thing as me. So I'm just probably going to stay where I am, to be honest. I think if I get into sub 1 million, like I'd be surprised at this point, honestly. Like into the 3 digits rather than the millions. That would, lucky if that happens. I feel like now, but yeah.
I think you've got some good opportunity this and next week. I know this is a bit to change the topic, but full go on a double back-to-back Palmer captain. When most people I
don't even have Palmer.
Yeah, I know, but you could buy him and sell Haaland this game week.
Not ahead of West Ham away. There's no way.
Why not? I might sell him this week. Anyway, we'll talk more about that in a minute. So yeah, I think generally speaking, you're right. I feel like a lot of teams are going to be the same because most people are going to max on 3 Chelsea, 3 City, 3 Arsenal, and we could probably pick right now who the best 9 assets are. It's going to be double Arsenal defense, maybe Rice. Chelsea's probably going to be Chalobah, Palmer, Pedro. City's probably going to be Haaland, Semenyo, and Gay or O'Reilly. So it's pretty fixed. Maybe some people will go for Timber rather than Rice, but it's that's all going to be pretty
yeah, or Saka maybe as well.
Or Saka. So that's nine picks of your starting 11, which are going to be fairly template.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about this game week in particular. Obviously, I think the main one I'd like to get your thoughts on straight away is the most transferred in is João Pedro.
Yeah, João Pedro most transferred in. He's annoying me. Obviously, fixtures coming up are not that great, but at the same time, I'll kind of talk about him now. Actually, I'm so since game week 22, 8, 12, 10, 8, 10, 7, 2, and 19. So obviously that 2, I was thinking, he stopped scoring now. Don't worry about it. And then gets hat-trick next week, obviously. Scored in the cup versus Wrexham, where he's rested as well. So came off, was rested and came on and scored. 56 points in the last 6 weeks, tops of all player by far. I was looking at the points earlier and I was thinking, wow, JP is actually the second highest scoring forward, but he's actually 35 points still behind Haaland's total of 160 versus 195. So yeah, Haaland really did have an amazing start of the season. With how good and consistent Pedro's been lately, it's a surprise that he's still 35 points behind. But so the fixtures coming, Newcastle home this week, Everton away, which both look okay, I suppose. Man City at home after that, Man United at home. Brighton away, Forest at home, Liverpool away, Tottenham at home, Sunderland away to the end of the season. I think that was. Yeah, it is. So I think on paper, like historically, you look at them and think they're pretty tough. Like Newcastle, Everton, City, United, Brighton, not great. Like Forest been last few seasons been pretty good defensively. Liverpool too, Tottenham too, like a top team, and then Sunderland been good this year. So, but actually on paper, like now, like with the form of their defenses, Newcastle defense has been bad. Everton defense is okay-ish, but can concede a few, especially at home. City defense is definitely not amazing. United defense certainly could be scored on. Brighton defense is always leaky. Forest defense this season has been terrible. Liverpool always leaky. Tottenham relegation form. And then Sunderland have been bad lately. So apart from obviously this week kept a clean sheet, but
they'll have nothing to play for in that game week as well, whereas Chelsea probably have got Champions League to play for.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, the fixtures don't look as bad as you might think at first sight. So yeah, could I swap Haaland for him maybe if I was looking at that? Possibly. Obviously, Haaland's got West Ham away. You're thinking of possibly Palmer as part of a Haaland move.
Maybe,
So yeah, I mean, João Pedro is like 47% owned, 7.7 million. I could do it with some moves, but I don't know. It's tough. Tough to vote like against Haaland and West Ham away versus like him versus Newcastle at home. I don't know. Like, am I just getting another well-owned player for another well-owned player? So is it that much of a difference really? So I don't know at this point on him. But
I felt like when it was 2 game weeks ago, and I was like, right, I've got to get him for the Burnley and Leeds games back to back. It's funny. Like we say he's a troll, but I was so confident based on how Chelsea played under Rosnick that they've just got the handbrake off, and they're playing some really attacking football. And the results have mimicked that. Like they're not great defensively, but they're scoring loads of goals. Like to score 4 away against Aston Villa when it's like a huge game for Champions League. That's the one which made me think, okay, right, that's that shocked me a little bit how they're playing like that. And then I appreciate it was the second team, but the philosophy was the same against Wrexham. They still scored 4 goals in that game. They're probably unlucky. He was unlucky not to return right at the end of the Arsenal game. So I think for me, he feels like a bit of a must-buy this week. His ownership is going up. His
stats are insane as well.
His stats are insane. Yeah, I've just got up on screen some game week 20 to now. Or to game week 29.
XG is 6.06, and that's without penalties.
When he's not on penalties, yeah.
And that's like the next nearest forward is 3.8.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Raul, who's had penalties.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
8 goals in that time compared
12
to 12
big chances, and the next closest is Ekitike on 8.
Yeah. If you take like the value of the player out of it, and if you said Pedro and Haaland were the same price, you would just say it would be an easy swap.
Yeah,
55 expected points for JP over that time period, and even though he's overperformed that quite comfortably, Haaland's still only on 40 in that period. So he's massively the best striker in the game at the moment.
He's such a troll for me that as soon as I buy him, he'll start blanking, and I'll be like, knew it. But then as soon as I don't, I keep not buying him, he'll keep returning. So that's just sod's law with FPL. And either way, I'll be screwed whatever I do, I think.
I think the way I look at it this game week, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to transfer out Haaland this week. And for me, it's probably a bit different than you because I've got Semenyo in my team who has been performing better than Haaland anyway.
Yeah,
West Ham is not going to be in, I don't think anyway, it's not going to be like a big score because West Ham are picking up some points recently and they are fighting. It comes in between the 2 Real Madrid games. I think there's lots of reasons there why Haaland won't necessarily play 90 minutes, even though he got that full rest.
Whereas is it for sure that Pedro and Palmer definitely play the Premier League considering
I don't think so. They got PSG as well. No, so I think it's similar, but then I look at it like I'm getting Newcastle and I'm getting, I'm quite likely. I'd say Haaland and Pedro's minutes this weekend are going to be similar, but I think Newcastle at home is an easier game. Newcastle have just played Barcelona. That's in between the Barcelona game for them.
Yeah.
Whereas West Ham have got basically a full week to prepare. So anyway, long story. I feel like I'm getting Pedro this week, and obviously in downgrading Haaland, I could really go big on Chelsea by also getting Palmer this game week.
Yeah, I mean, I probably could do both.
Mm,
Get both, but
yeah.
um, yeah, I guess it would have to be Rice that comes out, I think,
Well, that
or
sort of
Wilson maybe. Yeah.
that moves me on to what I was going to talk about with Rice, really. So it obviously goes without saying, I nearly sold him like two game weeks ago for Wilson, just because of this blank, and Wilson even outperformed like Rice over the last two games. But which midfielder do I think this week or has got a good fixture this week and a high upside pick, as well as a good game in game week 31? So I'll talk about Palmer more in a minute, but I really like Taverner now against Burnley this game week as a mega differential. He's only 5.3 million, 1.7% ownership. In last four starts, he's had two assists and one goal, and across the last two games, admittedly that they were fine games, but they were both home games. But he's like bossed it from a numbers point of view. 9 shots, which was the most of all mids. XG of 1.67, which was the most, and big chances created. He was second of all mids. So he's playing like a Burnley side now. Last 6 matches, all comps conceded 11 goals, so basically nearly 2 every game. Plays away in 31 against Man United. Defensively, not been great at the moment, and Bournemouth have a good record at Old Trafford. I think this game week, like for Tav, seems like a really good entry point for him. I don't know if he's cropped up on your radar, but I'm thinking I'm going to sell Rice and buy him this game week.
Yeah, he has him and Ryan, but yeah, maybe Tavernier is the safer guy because he's probably on penalties as well. Yeah, it's just like I need to sell Rice, obviously, but then I've got Rodgers stinking it up, and then Wilson is a injury issue, so like maybe I do that as well. So yeah, there's issues there. I mean, I think I've got 2 free transfers at the moment. I could roll this week to get 3, but at the same time, like there's moves that could be happening.
Yeah. I was thinking about that as well. Like, on the one hand, it doesn't seem, I will roll 3 transfers now to refresh the team in game week 35. But like, it could be that it's too late for like big gains in game week 35.
Yeah.
Why not get the points that are potentially here this game week? Like, to have away against Burnley seems like potentially a double-digit game. And I think like a Chelsea player as well against Newcastle this weekend could be the same. And I don't think, for as good as Rice is, I don't think he's going to haul at home against Everton. And I don't feel confident either that even captaining Haaland this weekend, nor that he would even haul against West Ham.
And you'd captain Palmer?
Maybe, yeah. If I got Palmer in the team, I'd probably captain him. But
you captaining Bruno against Everton?
Maybe Bruno.
Villa at home?
Maybe Bruno. I mean, they've just conceded 4 goals.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I think there's lots of options this game week for captaincy that aren't Haaland, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my thought on Tav, and then like I mentioned, Palmer. So if downgrading Haaland, I think he would be my pick of like premium midfielder. So he's now started the last 6 games and was rested fully against Wrexham. So for all intents and purposes, it feels like he's probably over the worst of his injury, and I expect he probably won't play a full 90 against Newcastle, but even Palmer for 75-80 minutes against Newcastle could be very good. So last 6 game weeks is either feast or famine, really. 2, 20, 12, 3, 1 and 9. So 3 hauls, let's say 3 blanks. So game weeks 26 to 29, that's last 4 game weeks. 4th for shots of midfielders, 2nd for shots in the box, 2 big chances created, which is the 5th best record. So he's not like Pedro. He's not far and away been the best performing midfielder in recent game weeks, but he's right up there. And the other option, of course, is Salah. But for me, I kind of think the jury's still out a little bit. Like, he's great for X minutes. He's started all of the 7 games since come back from AFCON. He's come off early in 3 of them, but he's only got 3 assists, 1 goal, 3 blanks in that time. He's not had like a huge return like Palmer has. And I kind of think if you need Liverpool, or if you want Liverpool coverage for these games, Wirtz, who's probably been back from injury soon, and Etiki have performed kind of similarly to him. So I think he's probably too much money when you compare to Palmer.
Yeah, it was option there as well, if you wanted. Yeah, I think he was pretty bad against Wolves. I watched some of that game, although when he did something, it resulted in a goal. But like he was poor, so he's just too much money, I think, at this point. Just not worth it. Yeah,
I agree.
that's my opinion.
Have you got any more other picks for this game week who are like worth looking at?
Yeah, so I was looking at Forest players. Anderson, 5.5 million, 7% owned, so still really low owned. He's been so good lately. 100k transfers in. He's in the top transfers for this week. Only missed DEFCON once since game week 16. And he's only actually missed DEFCON, the plus 2 points, 8 times all season across 30 weeks. So that's really good. And obviously the times he's missed them, he's basically been 1 or 2 off hitting. So he could have almost had a 30-week run of hitting DEFCON every game, which would have been insane. 2 goals, 3 assists so far. With 2 goals, 6 assists last year. So that assumes there's possibly a few more attacking returns coming. He's basically Rice, but he's 1.9 million cheaper. And the returns compared for those two last 6 weeks, Rice has got 31 points, Anderson's got 34 points. So Rice has got 5, 5, 9, 4, 5, 3, so consistent, whereas Anderson's got 7, 4, 5, 5, 1 with the blank, but then a 12 with a goal. So he's just one of those other dudes that have just not been flashy. He doesn't play for Arsenal, so he's less considered in people's teams. Like Rice was obviously so good and consistent, but Anderson is exactly the same, and even more so, he's scored more points in the last 6 weeks. So the fixtures are not that bad for them either. Like they've got a good run-ish coming. It's Fulham at home this week, which I think they've kind of got nothing to play for anymore. Like they just went out of the cup when they're probably not going to get Europe.
Lost against West Ham wasn't good.
It feels like a little bit down in the Fulham camp right now. I think this game is there for the taking for them. Doesn't feel great as a Wilson and Anderson owner, but so relegation scrap, they need to be getting games, and this is definitely one for them. And then Tottenham, obviously it's Tottenham,
such a huge game.
Another 3 point 6-pointer almost for relegation battle. Then Villa at home, who've been conceding goals, and then Burnley at home gave me 33, which could be part of, was it 33 the double?
Bench boost.
So exactly. And then Sunderland away in 34, not bad. Towards the end of the season, Chelsea, Newcastle, United, and then Bournemouth, which is not as good, but DEFCON. So if you're looking at wild card, I think he should be probably in most people's wild cards. 5.5 million, you just play him and just get 4 points or 5 points every week. Great. And then another one from their team, Gibbs White, 7.3 million, 3.8%. Been pretty good lately, 32 points in the last 6 weeks, 8, 2, 3, 2, 9, and 8. So consistently returning. 18 shots and 3 big chances, XG of 1.8 the last 6 weeks. 19 key passes is really high. 0 big chances created though, and an XA of 0.35. So he is playing like just behind Igor Jesus, like up front lately. But begs the question that he's probably not as good value as Anderson, because he's Anderson scored more points, way cheaper, like 7.3 versus 5.5. Not hit Gibbs White has not hit DEFCON all season. And then he's inconsistent attacking returns. So he's the 12th highest scoring mid versus the 6th for Anderson. So there's kind of no point really spending more on him, even though he's got pens. But Anderson will just tick along when in the harder games, when Gibbs White is not returning, something like that, he'll get DEFCON, and that all makes a difference. So I think Forest is worth looking at, and it's probably Anderson and probably no one else. But I think that's where I'll be going for sure.
Yeah, to be honest, I really like the Anderson pick. Like we talked about him a lot I talked about him a lot in pre-season, and
he just passed me by. Yeah, same.
And it's just, I feel like I was doing wildcard drafts earlier for game week 32, and I look at it now and I just, we get a good game in game week 32 at home against Villa, and Burnley in what would be the bench boost week. He seems like a fine single game week player for game week 33. And that's because he's probably going to get DEFCON. There's a fair chance of like a return in that game week. So even in one game, it could quite comfortably be like a 6 or 7 pointer, which would be great. So I really like Anderson, and
which might be counterproductive if we've got Dubravka on the bench for a bench boost. But
that's true. Do you want to spend that much on a second goalkeeper? But
well, no, because Dubravka's possibly going to have a double, right? Burnley might double in 33, so Dubravka probably will be the bench boost keeper on the bench.
yeah, if
So
you're feeling a bit spicy, you could probably upgrade it, but I don't know if it'd be worth the
so
investment.
Anderson on the bench boost in a single game week is less enticing at that because you're against Burnley, but who's going to be a keeper? But Dubravka probably save points, probably get maybe like 5-6 pointer in the week, maybe a double. Anderson could get 7 to 8, with a return of 10, something like that. Maybe that seems reasonable.
Yeah, I think that could easily be doable. So I think I think his ownership will shoot up around game week 32. But even for this game week, when you look at that next block of 4 fixtures, like you say, Fulham, Tottenham away, huge, Aston Villa poor defense, Burnley poor defense.
Does that make you want? Would you consider him instead of Tavernier?
Maybe, probably. His 31 fixture is much better than Tav's fixture. Like away at Tottenham is away against Man United, but based on like Tav's underlying numbers, I just feel like he could haul against Burnley, and then I'd feel a bit of regret. Whereas I feel like Anderson is a fine pick for like the wild card in game week 32. But is he gonna haul? I feel like it's just replacing Rice with Rice Light or another Rice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
May as well. If I'm gonna be deadheading into 32 and then wild carding, maybe I should try and do some high upside pick.
Okay.
All good picks.
Should we look at our teams?
Yeah, we could do a quick recap, couldn't we? Or quick preview, and then we do a final one on Thursday. Or maybe. Right, I got your team up on screen now. Here we go. Do you want to talk me through it?
Okay. Yeah. Virgil and Anderson. Anderson is debatable whether I start Chalobah or not, but probably will stay with Anderson. Bruno captain at the moment. Right. With him, then Ekitike, Thiago, and Haaland. Bench is fine. Could roll, but then I also could do moves like we've been discussing. So, maybe Haaland out is a way to do something. Maybe get ahead of the rush, I suppose, to sell him next week if people even bother selling him. There's things I can do. I've got 2 free transfers. We'll just see what I do, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure. I'd love to get rid of Rodgers, but he's annoying. But he's got a fixture. So, really just need to hear about Wilson, what's happening with him.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just, when you're talking about all the like players you might be removing, I'm just thinking it's like, do I really want to be selling some of these players? And I've just mentioned because of the value loss in them for game week 32 wildcard. I'll have to look at that. But yeah, let's see. All right, onto my team. Kind of similar, really. Kelleher in goal at home against Wolves. They got Ballard at home against Brighton. Gabriel and Virgil, like all of the back line at home. Decided to play Enzo Lefebvre against Roger rather than Rodgers because I'm just sick of Rodgers' one pointer. Feel like away against Man United worse than home against Brighton. Semenyo in there, Bruno like you, captain as well, at home against Villa at the moment. Rice still in there, Haaland still in there, Thiago and Ekitike. Like I mentioned, the 2 moves that I've been thinking about are going to be Haaland to João Pedro and Rice to Tavernier. So I might quite like to, like 75. I'm going to chance I'm going to do that.
So can you not get to Palmer?
Oh yeah, I could. Yeah, I could do Rice to Palmer. Just kind of fancy Tav against Burnley. Then I've still got the option if I want to next game week. I could do Rodgers or Enzo Lefebvre even to Palmer and have him, and I'd still have 11 out. I think at the moment I've got like if I did those moves this week, I think I'd have 12 players that I could play in game week 31. So it's not like I've scrabbling to put a team together. So I could make like another luxury one next week if I wanted to.
Yeah, that sounds all right.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll be back next week to preview game week 31. Thanks all for tuning in. Any questions, please drop them in the comment section below and we'll get to as many as possible before the deadline. Have a good weekend game week.
Yeah, cheers all.
Bye-bye.